went for the Slaughter instead of the Beast for Liquid?
I actually am, because I haven't seen Liquid play Slaughter that much, and I felt like they're really confident in their Beastmaster.
Wait, will they ever actually run safe lane Slaughter on Matumba Man?
It's usually the offlane Slaughter for mind control. And then a hard carry for Matumba Man.
Has Matumba Man played safe lane Slaughter?
No.
I don't think so.
But I think that I actually favor that a little more with the current playstyle. I feel a few teams like a good example would be MVP has found a lot of success with a safe lane Slaughter.
I think what we've seen out of a lot of offlane Slaughters is that they tend to get really far behind, and then after that Blink Dagger maybe they pick up a 4-step, but after that they can't pick up farm and they don't get those pickups.
Yeah, if you do offlane Slaughter, you have to rely on your supports to make a rotation or even like a core. When you get ultimate on your core, like let's say a Juggernaut with Omni Slash, you have to go to his lane and help him. Otherwise, he's going to have a very bad timing on his blink, and it affects the whole gameplay.
And what is really important with Slaughter is exactly what Charlie said. You cannot just try to kill heroes all the time. You need your time to farm up, because you need that BKB eventually. You need to be able to initiate, and if you don't have the farm with Slaughter, you will just become like a burden for your team in the end.
So you would actually be the guy that gets a Midas after his blink. This Slaughter.
You know what Black's thinking right now.
I actually think that's one of the best builds.
Please don't tilt him again.
Moon does it a lot from OG actually. He always goes blink into Midas, and then he transitions into like a semi carry that's really good for his team in the mid-late game. And I really like that build because he doesn't fall too far behind.
You just want to see more Midases, don't you?
I love Midases, and we have a Phoenix as well. It's going to be 2 in one team.
Oh man.
I feel
is the crowd cheering you for buying Midases?
I feel like someone's hypnotized him and just put the word Midas in his head.
This guy buys Midas, buys Battle Fury, buys Radiance. What do you expect, Paul? This guy.
It's disgusting, Winter.
He just farms everything on your map. If you're on his team, you just basically get nothing from this guy.
Oh, but just
Defense of the farmers.
Just listen to the sound when you kill a creep. The sound is so soothing. You're like,
I worry about you, Black, sometimes. I really do. There's an Elk and a Brood band out, and a Drow from Team Liquid. Not a big surprise.
The Brood is weird,
Brood,
though.
Isn't it? They've not really gone that way before, so why would they do that now?
Maybe they have something in mind that just gets countered by Brood and they don't want to deal with it.
banning the Tinker, one of Dandy's best heroes.
I mean, Brood usually does very well against like Drow Ranger type of lineups.
Yeah. Well, they banned out a Drow first, though.
Yeah, so
I guess it also says that they're not too worried about Dandy on a Windrunner, I guess, without the Drow.
But Drow in general with Beastmaster is always very strong, though. You have to be so afraid that if you lose one team fight, you might just lose your whole base, because they push so quickly.
there's still the Enchantress, though. I mean, you guys talked about.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't been touched
especially
yet.
Charlie mentioned about how important it is for NaVi to seize control of the early game.
Especially Enchantress with Disruptor, they're like, that's a really strong support combo.
Yeah, because you can't run away.
Yeah.
Have glimpse.
Like, you smoke into mid lane, he might see it coming at the end, you just get glimpse back, you just die. And they go for the Juggernaut.
5 men, I guess.
Yeah.
They have Jug, they have Beastmaster. They're on the dire side.
Beast plus Jug together is a very strong push combo. You can go Roshan pretty much whenever you want to. You have Necro 1, you can just sneak that Roshan in, and it's really hard to contest. And of course, one of the best heroes against Slaughter, when you get Manta, then you have Battle Fury as well as Manta to get rid of the Amplify damage.
Yeah, good versus the egg as well.
Yeah. What is so funny?
Yeah,
right now?
what are you laughing
just
about?
Winter, like, every time we talk about it, it reminds me that he hates your builds, that's all. Every time.
Oh my god, the Manta!
Yeah. Winter mentioned that I hate Lincolns and Black hates Manta.
Yeah, I think we found your kryptonite between you.
Tilted.
Yeah.
Well,
DK for Team Liquid.
That's interesting that they picked their mid that early.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you guys talk about, remember during the role comparison, you talk about Fata, we all mentioned that he just needs to play stable.
Yeah.
So DK is one of those like stable heroes, and you know, the difference between NaVi and Liquid, maybe NaVi would actually rely on Dandy to actually move around. I think I spoke about this before. When you have DK, you wish the enemy mid laner is running around so you can actually take the tower. So maybe this is like the distinct idea that they want to have in this game where they're expecting Dandy to move and they want a mid hero that can actually take advantage of it.
it's like Dandy Puck, Dandy Windrunner, he's going to TP to the safe lane, try to kill the heroes, and then DK is just going to activate ult and push the tower. Maybe 1 or 2 support rotations.
But why wouldn't you pick Death Prophet in that scenario instead? It's better at taking the tower. It's also just a better laner overall. My worry with DK is that he loses so many, he can lose so many matchups, and I think that's like very key here for Liquid is to at least come out even in the laning stage.
The only reason why might be because they want to pick a hero as carry that can push that well and that doesn't have disables necessarily, because there's not many mid heroes that have a disable right now. There's like Puck, there's DK,
maybe it's also the cooldown. They do not want to play too much on cooldowns because DP you have to play your game around your
I mean,
ultimate.
they've also said effectively by putting that DK in the mid that they're not really that worried what Dendi runs right now, and the three most popular he's been running recently, Windrunner, Invoker, Queen of Pain. They're not going to really worry too much about any of that, are they?
I think Queen might be the most suitable. I don't actually really like Puck that much against DK because once you move, you have a high chance of losing your tower, and it's really bad for your team when you lose that mid tower very early.
And mid-late game, DK is a hard counter to Puck. You get that instant initiation on. You generally don't have a lot of HP on Puck, and you will just die. But the same goes. Or they go back to the Enchantress.
Yeah. Okay.
Finally. But I mean, they weren't really scared that Liquid would pick it up because they usually don't run it. Yeah.
Oh, safe lane lone
Going
druid.
back for the Matumba Lone Druid.
Okay.
That is like a very, very strong push.
I understand the Dragon Knight pick a little more here now. They just want a bunch of tanky cores just to face rush towers. So they are going back to their old style. Instead of, you know, trying to run around and get pickoffs, they're trying to just push.
It's very slow though.
Yeah, it makes sense though against a team like NaVi who do like to jump in.
Yeah,
right?
but the thing is, it's very slow. Their pace of the game will be really slow. Think about it. If you talk about the offlane Slada, you need to wait for him to get his blink, and he's not going to get a blink fast. Phoenix needs a lot of levels. DK is not going to get too much tempo done in the game unless he gets a haste rune. He gets a good rune. Otherwise, he's going to be static. He's going to be sitting in his lane. Lone Druid, you're going to wait for his Radiance. Minus Radiance at 18.
I think it's a little different here because the way Matumba Man plays it and the way Liquid plays the safe lane Lone Druid is they don't wait for the Radiance.
They just go.
Yeah, they just, the moment everybody hits their level timings, they just go run at towers.
Lone Druid for them before Radiance plays more like a tank. I'm gonna disrupt you with the bear kind of role, and then after the Radiance he transitions into that regular hard carry role.
It feels like they are pushing him into this Windrunner because the DP's banned now.
I really like the Windrunner, but what I would also really like to see is the Timber Saw. It is incredible against the lineup.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's super
they have
good.
3 strength cores and Lone Druid, DK, Slada, they're not...
That is actually a super good pick here. That is super good for NaVi.
I agree.
It's way better than the DP, I think.
Hasn't played it in the last 3 months.
That might be an issue. Like, we don't want him to run the Timber Saw just because it's good. We have seen it yesterday on Wii.
Yeah, we saw it.
It was an amazing pick, but if you're not confident on a hero, you shouldn't draft it.
Yeah.
Then rather just pick a Windrunner that you really like.
The things that he has been running are things like the TA. Even a Zeus.
He is not that great here, I think.
Yeah.
It's real bad against
Zeus might be good, but...
It's a really out there kind of pick though. It hasn't been picked in this tournament yet.
I don't like Zeus that much.
He's gonna die repeatedly though, Zeus against this
and
lineup.
you can double pipe as well. Like the double pipe really nerfed Zeus into the ground.
And I think that Zeus versus Slada, it used to be good because you can disable his blink easily, but not anymore.
They changed the static, yeah.
They go for the Venge to amplify their push.
So the only things really are the Windrunner or the Invoker.
Maybe Invoker crossworks, but I still think Timber is better than Invoker.
You have Beastmaster to set up your ganks, and you have Enchantress to secure your laning phase. And
Invoker, if he feels
Invoker...
confident.
Yeah, he's confident on Invoker for sure.
Yeah. It's probably gonna be Invoker. Or I would really like to see the Timber Saw though. I hope he can play it and
this really is the perfect Timber game. There's not too much like silence for him, not a lot of magic damage either.
Yeah, hasn't played Timber in the last 12 minutes. Instead,
that is unexpected.
Yeah, but it's the same issue with the Puck. Bat Rider wants to move, and when he moves, DK is gonna take his tower.
But on top of that, they simply don't have the damage right now to kill their 3 tanky cores.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be really hard draft for NaVi to execute. They can't make many mistakes, or they lose all their towers and the whole control of the game.
Okay, right. Good stuff from all 3 of our panel members once more. We heard back from them again at the end of game 1. For now, we're going to our commentary desk though, where Toby 1 is waiting.
Luckily, I'm also here with Merlini, ready for NaVi versus Team Liquid. Game number 1. How you feeling for this one, Merlini?
It's a classic push strat coming out from Liquid. They could end it before 20. Let's see.
I'd like to see if that happens, especially up against NaVi. We want to see how much pressure they can also apply. We're going to find out in just a bit, because the game is about to start. Enchantress, Bat Rider, the panel we're talking about a couple of other heroes to maybe... Let's go straight to the game. And we are here to get underway. Team Liquid versus NaVi. Game number 1 of this best of 3 elimination is the lower bracket. Round 3. Winner will face up against FNATIC. The loser will get to watch the game.
So early game, looks like Jerex has already smoked up, used a dive to get deep into NaVi's territory, dropping that sentry ward to block Enchantress's spawn. A lot of NaVi's strategy hinges upon this Enchantress getting kills early, making sure that Batrider can get his early Blink Dagger, because their anti-push is not strong at all.
Well, Seneko gets to win a small little battle. Finds that Observe Ward, which is planted by Mind Control. Thanks to the Observe Ward, they also planted up next to the Radiant Secret Shop. They could see Mind Control making that run. Waited perfectly in the tree line. And then just a simple D Ward. So, vision-wise, now Team Liquid actually only have one Observe Ward on the lane. And that's actually on the bottom lane, blocking the Beastmaster pull.
So Enchantress does have a smoke, no sentries on her, but after that one Observer Ward's already taken down, she should feel pretty safe.
Matavaman going to try and contest this bottom rune. Fada's here as well, going to walk in. Siki Napalm's up with a dive forward. A lot of damage already coming out. Jirax is dropping down low, but Dendy, he's being focused down by Team Liquid. He will get back up the hillside, whilst actually the Phoenix will be the first blood. Taken by NaVi. Artstyle killing off Jirax. And they're able to bail back out. So first blood goes the way of NaVi after Liquid really tried to contest NaVi heavily for that bot rune.
And Dendy ended up getting the bounty rune too. Napalm just makes engagements like that really difficult to chase down in hero.
So the bounty rune still ended up being split because the top one went the way of Mind Control. But we go into our laning phase now. So Dendy could feel very happy, able to obviously get bounty rune. So how is this matchup meant to work? Like you got the last pickup from NaVi. Batrider was their last one, so they have to feel confident that this hero is going to have a big impact.
I think he has pretty good kill potential on the Dragon Knight. I think they definitely want something that's tempo control and not as farmy on him. It's just struggles if you, let's say you blink in, you get stunned by DK, or you get Savage Reward instantly, or they have the Vengeful Spirit swap. Like, any of these things can interrupt this flow, and if you have a bad team fight, you can lose 1-2 towers and then Roche. So it's just a very high-risk hero from NaVi.
Well, they have to have something that will help them pay off and get ahead in this game.
Artstyle looks like he's heading down to the bottom. There are no wards. He didn't smoke for this.
No, he's just here to try and make sure there's no easy farming of any kind of neutrals. And obviously, like, with his presence on bottom lane with the double boars, Kuro can't easily just zone out general if you've got that help from the Enchantress. And it can also make Fada look behind him, because right now Fada's actually got 5 sticky napalm stacked on him from Dendy, and actually turn on the Firefly. Let's just force Fada back behind the tier 1 tower and give Dendy all the space in the world to farm up.
And Jerax may have a difficult time searching for his levels if Artstyle is constantly in the jungle. I don't think these two heroes can...
Kuro is actually going to go down for the bot rune. You got yourself beside a blast. The boar's not going to get in range, or maybe it will try and slow down Kuro. The attack actually hits uphill, which means Artstyle's got a chance right now. That Shadow Blast is back off cooldown, but he needed to actually commit to one hero. Very difficult to do when you got sprites coming out from Jirax.
Jerax going with the level 2 Fire Spirit, much better at dealing with this one-on-one situation against the Enchantress.
As opposed to what we've normally seen, which is like that heavy amount into Sunray early on.
I don't know how much access he has to that right camp. I think the Observer Ward blocks that one, so he doesn't have that many camps to work with on the right side of the map.
Still want to keep my little side eye over on Mind Control. He's managed to find a couple of levels. Okay.
Oh, nice snipe from Enchantress.
With Mind Control up on this top lane, the Snako is going to start to pose a bit of a threat. With the combination of Didi Ra, it's just either a simple glimpse or wall, and then allow for a full spin against Mind Control, something which he can't really just crush his way out of.
Yeah, he might need phase boost just to ensure it versus, let's say, a level 2 sprint from Mind Control.
So he can actually keep up.
And Artstyle, his camp will be unblocked at this point. Jerax placing that sentry very, very early. And he will have a troll. This might be a smoke from Artstyle.
So right now, obviously we had first blood, but after that everything started to simmer down. There's been a couple of rotations, but not much more beyond that. Is this really favoring one team? Like, I know Winter was saying, like, it's a slower paced game for Team Liquid. Hello, top lane, Mind Control, the spin from Didier. He's trying to get into the tree lines. Mind Control keeps the run going. Snako also rotates over. They'll cancel off the Sal, but the double crush. Mind Control, he's just going to sprint his way out. Can he get through the wall? No, he can't. He's controlled and locked, but Didier still does not have the damage, and he doesn't have that movement speed. The phase boots aren't there yet. So Slaughter is able to escape. But this will force Mind Control all the way back to the well.
Yeah, very nice moves by Slaughter. Without the ceilings, Albi would have definitely been a dead fish.
Well, Fada might be up a little bit too far. Arstyle's going to start his rotation. He needs that troll trap to come. You've got the actually the purge creep as well, slowing him down. Fada trying to reach that tier 1 tower. He just can't do it. The sticky napalm fireflies there, and Dendy will take the kill in the mid.
Nice movement by Artstyle. And kind of maybe waiting to save his Arcane Rune for that level 6 push. And yeah, this is already putting a dent into Liquid's timing. You want to be able to push the tower down, or at least get some damage on it 6 minutes in. I don't think Pilot's going to be level 6 by then. And the supports are really struggling to keep bottom lane stable for Matama Man.
You still have Matama Man with the highest amount of CS on the board, and this Lone Druid, like, you've played a lot of Lone Druid safe lane in your time as well. How do you even shut it down, and can you shut down a safe lane Lone Druid? Like, he's still going to hit a sweet time with Radiance, right?
Right, but you can just make all his teammates pretty useless. If he's the only one that's really farmed, you can kite the bear. They have reward to lock it down if they really want to at some point, but they have a lot of right-click damage. They can't really poke at towers without fear of return damage.
That's what Liquid always likes to do with the Lone Druid. They want to poke in when they hit a half-decent level timing, at least.
They never have eyes on this Enchantress. I think that Observer Ward at the start, like, really hurt them. Now they can't really foray into NaVi's side of the map, and Artstyle can feel very comfortable running around.
Especially when you're able to de-ward another Observer Ward. In fact, it's going to be a smoke maneuver. Artstyle and Snako together. Artstyle, however, is bone dry when it comes to mana, so don't look for any kind of slow, don't look for any kind of heal. But Dendy starts his Firefly, but it's Mind Control, rotates over, breaks the smoke of Artstyle. Kuro's still here, but they're going to glimpse Fada back over underneath Dendy's Firefly. Fada, however, stands his ground up against Dendy, and the burst damage is there. The Sunray will also arrive, making it so Na'Vi is a little bit more cautious about this, but then again, Didier runs forward. He's got Spin of Verbal. He'll focus onto the Phoenix. The wall locking in Kuro as well, allowing Arstyle's army to move forward underneath the T1 tower, but Dragon Form is up, and Fada wants to fight. The stun's on Didier thanks to that Slaughter Crush, and now the Orbi Slash. He's hit level 6 during the engagement. Will bounce back out, and Didier on 60 HP will retreat behind his Tier 1 tower. Heavy committal from both teams, but not a lot of blood spilt.
And Dragon Knight picked up 2 early points into Dragon Tail, that combined with the Arcane Rune. 7.7 cooldown on that stun. And that's value Arcane Rune coming out from him.
And that's still your first Dragon Form triggered, and you haven't done any damage to the Tier 1 tower. Obviously, you still survived the fight with a 1-1 trade.
It was a little obvious from Na'Vi. Once they drop the Sentry Ward, they know the supports are around, because it's rarely going to be given to the mid hero to de-ward. And then it's very common to Sentry, make sure they don't have vision of you, and then smoke, so the supports were positioned right around the Ancients to pop it from the north side.
Interesting, this lane switch. Dendy's actually moved down to bottom lane now. He's got 1k gold banked up, so obviously you're still looking for that Blink Dagger timing. But straight after the fight happens, and they switch General into the mid. He's hit his level 6 as well, but is shy of mana to actually have Raw.
Still need a few more stacks out for him. The supports have been very, very busy trying to slay Liquid's heroes. There is a 3 stack in the Radiant safe lane. Let's see if Dendy can get that for Blink Dagger. He's at 1150 gold right now.
Waiting for this group up in mid. Looks like Team Liquid are going to bring in the extra help. Kuro's got smoke as well. Looks like he's just doing a bottom maneuver for now, as Mind Control wants to loop around. There's no dire Observer Ward thanks to Team Liquid, finding that NaVi Observer Ward sitting on the high ground of the NaVi side. They know that NaVi doesn't have great vision around the river.
The timeline of Enchantress's strength is expiring soon. These heroes are getting pretty tanky. Dragon Knight level 7 with 1000 HP, with just treads.
Is that why Artstyle now is transitioning himself into Hand of Midas, realizes he can just become this damage dealer in the mid game?
Yeah, I think he did enough damage in this early game. I think if you force it too much at this point, then you're not going to get kills and you're going to fall way too far behind. And they need the damage output from him later. He can be a pretty good anti-push if he's sitting on the high ground throwing spears at the DK or at the bear. It can really hurt their push. They have some sustain in the Phoenix.
Denny's a very happy man. He just took that triple stack, which is on the top lane on his Dire side. So he's now sitting at 1900.
But as the panel mentioned, as soon as Denny leaves the lane, mid tower getting pressured very hard. Dragon Knight with a DD rune on.
But there's no one to defend it because Denny leaves and General, in fact, just rotated down to bottom lane. Now the TP support's coming with Fortification as well, just forcing him away. That's a double damage rune TK. You do not want to fight into it. Just dissuade him from taking your tower.
And they didn't even try for the glimpse. They probably only know that there's 2 heroes there. If there were more, they would have at least
double TPs are on their way to Nako. He's got Storm up and running. He's got to pull Fada back into it, however. Waiting for that glimpse timing. It's not really going to happen for him, but the spin damage, then he's going to get hit out of that Firefly. It's actually Jirax with that Sunray doing the work. Fada, can he actually get out of here? Not with a double crush from Mind Control. NaVi, they've lost 3 heroes here. A triple kill for Jirax. Nat Phoenix causing absolute havoc for NaVi, coming from behind the lines and giving nowhere to retreat.
I mean, no one was really ready for that. I don't know if like Seneko had just hit level 6, but I think they should have engaged right after they used a glyph. They could have isolated the Dragon Knight close to the
top lane
T1
as
tower.
well. Seneko may not escape from this one. He'll glimpse Mind Control out of here. And that will allow him to get a little bit of distance, but Kuro is also rotating up. He's got swap available, so he can pull Seneko back over again. Exactly what he does with the stun, and with just basic attacks, Wave of Terror. There's almost no armor on Seneko, but Denny wants to try and punish now the Team Liquid drafter. Kuro on the run, Art Styles behind him. They can slow him down. He's dragged the creep wave too, so Kuro understands that he is most definitely dead, but he's wasting time here of Denny and Art Style.
And that will be Denny's Blink Dagger immediately picked up after that. It was just a really strange engage of that T1. Seneko had missed his kinetic field on the 2 heroes. They weren't locked inside the static storm, yet he kept chasing forward, and that just led so many heroes to be hit by that Sunray and the eventual crush by Mind Control. You can't make mistakes like that if you want to defend against Liquid's push.
Yep. And that gives Liquid a good momentum. In fact, it was NaVi who was leading the way. They had about 2k gold advantage, about 1700 in the experience, and all of that was just negated after the last fight in the mid lane.
So let's see if there is a smoke. So Nico has one on him. Denny does not have one in his inventory. Drop a sentry, make sure that there's no vision, and now it's time.
Dira, staying close. Like you can smoke up from Denny and Seneko, but they've got to ping and realize the attack. Yeah, they've cottoned onto the fact, and Dira cuts through the tree line until they can see each other. The lovers tunnel up on top lane. And now Dendy, smoke's gonna break into the Firefly. He's still got that blink. Lasso on Mind Control, but no, the glimpse from Seneko actually breaks the lasso of Dendy.
And Kuro's like, I didn't even need to swap there. They were ready for that. Even if that hadn't happened, Kuro would have swapped, and then Sora would have been able to get a crush off. So that was just a little bit hasty by them.
It just exposes the problems here in game 1 for NaVi. Like, things are not synergizing properly.
They should have better vision with the Beastmaster. I feel like they haven't been able to scout out Liquid's movements. They didn't know that 2 heroes were there. They plopped the Observer Ward down as they were making that move. And now with the recently acquired Supernova, Jirax just ate that tome not too long ago. And another Arcane Rune for Dragon Knight.
Just Dragon Form up to Dragon Form when he can do this kind of jazz. This smoke maneuver, they're going to find him. It's Diddy Ra. He's got his own observer on the other side of the tree line, so Mind Control smoke will break. But Diddy Ra, he knows he's in trouble. Spin TP out. In comes Mind Control. No point up in bash, but you got the swap from Kuro. And Diddy Ra, he'll go down on the top lane. Kuro taking the kill, and this means Tier 1 Tower will fall straight after. It's already injured.
And everything pretty much going according to Liquid's plan at this point. Matama Man closing in on that relic quite soon. He's been very quiet on the bottom lane.
Well, that's the reason why Denny's probably down here. They're trying to do something about it, but Liquid, they feel something's coming. Either that or they want to just move from tower to tower. The Tier 1 tower's already lost on the bottom lane. Okay, General will commit Raw to kill off that bear. Anything he can. Actually, Matama doesn't have mana at the moment. He can't even resummon his new bear yet. It is off cooldown, and he's got a clarity, so he's fine.
Dragon Knight wasn't even forced to commit Dragon Form for that T1 tower, so they can keep on knocking on the T2s. And Juggernaut's really not fight ready at this point. He didn't get that early kill on the Slardar, and he just has a ring of health right now. If he goes Vanguard, it's not going to be good at stopping the push at all. But if he farms for the Battle Fury, they might lose all the T2s before he can dish out any damage.
So is that just when you have to make space? Like, you put Arnstyle out in the front lines, he's going to have his Dragonlance pretty soon. And get better initiations with Seneko as well as Dendy. Combine them up properly.
They need the Roar. I think they need the Beastmaster there for damage. I feel like he hasn't been present in any of Navi's engagements.
Well, he might be present for this one. TP is in, but because he used the Roar on the Bear on the bot lane, it's not available. But Dendy this time around, Flame Break pushing Mind Control away. The Sunray already being burnt out here by Jirax, but then Dendy jumps in, lasso. This time it's a Mind Control. They try and glimpse back with Phoenix into the Nova. And Navi, they will wait this one out. Their initiation did not work, and he still gets hit by this. But while all this is going on, you've got Matumberman taking the tier 2 tower on bot lane. They want to stop these TPs out of here. Arstyle's able to get his one out in the mid lane.
Kuro's been in near perfect position for these fights, though. He's sitting just in swap range of a potential lasso, and then he just cannot find any sort of jump on Liquid. This is before the bear comes. If they try and go in the Vengeful Spirit, which they might try and do later, they can just Savage Roar.
Sorry, Raw from General in the mid, going to trigger the Necro Books as well. Denny jumps forward, there is no lasso available, but Mind Control, they glimpse him back into the Storm, and with the Sunray, it's not enough protection. In fact, it's Diddy Ra who has to start walking away from Jirax. But that's the first pick which Navi have taken fairly convincingly away from the rest of the Liquid lineup.
Yeah, they can do Roche with Healing Ward and with the Beastmaster Aura if they can ever clear out Liquid from that side of the map. However, looks like Matumberman will be closing in on maybe even earlier than 18 minutes. He will have his Relic money right now. And
it was a Vanguard from Didira, so it's not the heavy farming build.
I think they're going to have severe damage issues. Jirax does have max Sunray at this point.
How else do you get around that? Like, can you just go raw damage output over on Didira from now on?
I think it's mostly Dendy. Dendy has to get... He has level 3 Flame Break, so Flame Break on a few heroes with a couple of Napalm stacks. Firefly, I think he's maybe relying a little bit too much on the lasso.
But how do you actually get those sticky napalm stacks off unless Liquid are going to commit to a long drawn-out fight? Then you also need the ability to start kiting. Unless you can get like a couple of sticky napalms off and then the glimpse will allow you to capitalize on it.
Yeah, I think he should just try and run in and you just start napalming everyone. If they turn to face him, your teammates can come in with the Static Storm and then you go for the lasso. They're looking for just the easy initiation, the Blink Lasso, and then they're already looking for that. Maybe even a Roar on a different target. They have to control multiple targets at once and not just rely on the lasso.
Well, they can give it a crack for now. It's back to the farming. Because this is just a fantastic time for a lone druid, already up at 8.2k in his net worth. The DK is in the second position for the net worth board at 6.6k. So Fada with his armlet. Another difficult way just to execute this Dragon Knight. But the fact that Fada can just start toggling his way through it all. And there's no instant burst damage. You're not looking like a Queen of Pain being on the field or that sharp spike of damage we saw from Templar Assassin yesterday.
And the new blink on Mind Control will hail the smoke from Liquid.
Now they look for their opening, a 3-man maneuver. They see Snako, or do they? They're coming up top lane, they're searching for Diddy Ra. Mind Control as she goes for the blink. He misses it, the swap will be there, but Diddy Ra now making a break for his tier 2 tower. General triggers the Necro Books. He's got Roar available, and the rest of Navi are coming. The whole 5-man lineup. They're burning up the mana here of Fada. So Dragon Form is still protecting him. He doesn't have the armor turned on. They glimpse him back into the wall. And the Storm. Can they hold him there? Yes, they can. Liquid, they're actually cutting their losses. They understand this DK is gone. They just want to bail out and go straight back to the other lanes to farm and push them out.
They had to commit a lot to go in this Juggernaut. And Liquid also had pretty good vision in that area with the Observer Ward. I guess that was placed after the initial jump. And now it looks like the Radiance is online for Spirit Bear.
That it is. So now we have to start worrying about all that little bit of chip damage coming their way, not to mention the missed chances. So life gets a little bit more difficult for Navi. It's just this lone druid. Matumberman time and time again has just destroyed so many teams with it. And this looks to be the same kind of case. They're going to slip themselves inside the pit. Now Navi, they don't have Storm available for 30 seconds.
They have the Observer Ward. They see the Phoenix, so they know that something is going on in the pit.
Oh, that's when we look towards Denny then. He's got a Firefly and getting closer. Like Roshan, with that amplification, you know you can't properly contest it, but they've taken so long to get here. The Roshan's at 1.5k. Now the Sunray is out. Denny with a Flame Break. He might be able to cliff. He actually cliffs Matumberman. But Matumberman quickly TP's out. He's already got the Aegis Immortal. So Navi a little bit too late to the party.
Wow, that was a really nice play by Jirax. He used a Sunray to stop the Batrider blink. Without the Batrider being able to blink in the pit, there's no chance that they can snatch or take the Roshan kill. And NaVi just a little bit late to that. Timeline is so small when you have to deal with AMP. And NaVi, I think they would have been in a pretty good spot had they been able to contest the Roach or take it for themselves.
Here they come again. Smoke it up and try and look for the opening.
Wow, what a scan.
It looks like they see everything. That tier 1 tower in mid lane is what NaVi wants to go for, but Liquid hit the scan perfectly and NaVi walks straight under it, and this pushes Liquid up to their own ancient area. Hilariously enough, Seneco's already put down an observer ward, which will now... Oh, Kuro sees it because he put down his own sentry, and NaVi, they just keep coming up the hill. They're looking for an opening. General, he actually started the axis for the Roar. There's your lasso over on Kuro, but then he's stunned up. The Nova is down, and Dendy so deep with no friends.
I think at that point you just take the T1 tower instead of chasing up that hill. If they're all going to retreat there, you can get better positioning
the
by
rotation
hiding around the tower.
Matumbaman's coming in from behind. He's looking for an opening. Snake puts the wall up. He might just have to glimpse Matumbaman away and get that bear off the front lines, but okay, not going to happen. They get back to the tree line while the rest of Liquid mop up the Necro books of the Beastmaster. And the tier 1 tower remains healthy.
And now with Lasso on cooldown, with the Aegis in possession of Liquid, I think the tier 2, maybe even a tier 3 siege starts right now. They're incredibly strong relative to NaVi.
They still have to be careful though. Even if you do have Lasso on cooldown, NaVi still have a decent AoE controller. If you commit too heavily, then the glimpse will make sure you get punished for it. And NaVi don't even want to try and contest the mid lane. They're taking the tier 1 tower on the bot lane. So they get some level of trade-off. But with this maneuver, Team Liquid, like they go up towards the top lane, this will, at the end, leave only one outer tower for NaVi, and that one's already down at about 1/3 of its normal life.
I think NaVi should just commit to split pushing a lot more, maybe get BOTs up on Dendy, and Liquid have been as 4 for most of the game until Matumbaman got his readiness. Now they're going to be sitting as 5. Just sack your towers and get towers of your own. Because now Liquid have a much more push-oriented lineup, so if you're trading 1-for-1 against a push lineup, it should be okay as long as you can hold your T3s.
Well, they're doing it right now. That tier 2 for tier 2 tower. Liquid could go for the tier 3s. They could potentially TP back to defend their tier 2 on bot. No, General and Didier Ra will manage to take it. The fortification will slow this up. The boards can finish the job, so they're going to TP back now. They have to defend. As Liquid, the fortification from NaVi will hold them out.
Gotta watch out for Glimpse. They have to back out as a team.
Well, they're able to do so. So, yeah, that was an even trade. That's still tower for tower. I think the only thing which Team Liquid held on to, and actually, no, they burned it too. They burnt their glyph, so both teams burnt their tier 2 tower glyph.
It would have been a lot more dangerous had General not TP'd there. He still had his Necro 3 up, and he can even just throw his Necro 3 plus the plus his summons at the T3 or his hero there, but then they might have been in a compromising position at that fight. I think he could have maybe waited on for
again. This smoke maneuver, Matumbaman's going to walk straight into it, the Observer Ward and Sentry, but NaVi, they walk away. They see him, but don't want to fight. The rest of Team Liquid are also coming down. They'll come underneath the Obs and Sentry. So all the movement is being watched by NaVi.
That's their only Observer Ward out. They had a Hawk near the top room, but no idea where the rest of
Courage goes sentries. He's going to think there's some kind of vision around here. I'm wondering if he... Does he? No, he's going to walk it off.
He's probably wondering why they didn't jump.
They're pinging. They're pinging. Yeah, he found it out. So both the Obs and Sentry are gone.
General's setting up for maybe a wraparound onto Matumbaman. He does have a little bit of extra damage output coming out from Seneco. The Roar on the summons might make this a very difficult kill, though.
Yeah. Father, you're not going to find anything with this one, even with the Shadow Blade. Everyone from NaVi is back at home.
He's gotten so many arcane runes.
This is the new DD.
So looking at net worth, it looks like art style has transitioned to the number 2. He is far ahead of Dendy in terms of farm with the Dragon Lance and the Axe Scepter complete. I think that will make it very difficult for Liquid to push high ground. Maybe Sunray on the Bear, they could do a decent amount of damage.
Ra, Fada, under the Shadow Blade, runs forward. There's just done. Seneco gets a good ulti off. Then he jumps in too. Lasso on Kuro, and Didier Ra spins up and gets back into the base safely. He'll end up surviving this one with a Roar. Matumbaman, he's caught underneath the tier 3 tower. The Healing Wood will come forward, allowing NaVi to survive through this one. With Slaughter down, Matumbaman will join him. Kuro will go down too. The damage is arriving from NaVi in the form of R-Style. Impetus damage over to Fada with a spin too. Fada's gone too. They've lost 4. NaVi will defend the high ground, and this is why Liquid were being so patient. They understood there's still some bite to Navi's lineup.
I think it was actually impatience that caused that array of events. The Aegis expired as they killed Matama Man. It was maybe 2 seconds before they killed him, maybe even 1 second before, and without 2 lives on a lone druid. And when you hear that sound from Navi, you know that you won that fight.
Oh, they're going to take a tier 1 tower to boot. Take that momentum, continue the push. It was a 3k lead roughly for Liquid in the gold, as well as a little bit in the experience. This is going to start to skyrocket down for Navi.
I didn't agree with the Vanguard at the start, but it won them that fight. And if Artstyle can get this sort of farm, you don't really need too much damage from your Juggernaut.
It's the perfect replacement. It's like, oh, I don't have enough from the Juggernaut, so let's give all the space to Artstyle. You were mentioning it just before the fight. They purposely put that money into Artstyle to get him to the point where they could defend against Liquid.
Yeah, he's #1 on net worth on Navi, and just a few thousand behind Matama Man.
It seems to be the perfect hero to also put damage on in this game. Like you're going up against like 3 melee heroes. As long as he can keep that range, he can keep the kite going while still inflicting heavy damage.
Yeah, he did. He's played really well in the early game. He just output the right amount of threat with the smokes that the supports had to play really defensively, and then after that, you transition into a farming build so the supports are still wondering where the Enchantress is. He could be farming, but he also could be smoked up. So it hurts their farm, and then he's just A-okay in his own jungle.
So overall, okay, this didn't go well for Liquid. The mid push didn't really function for him, and they gave a lot over to Navi. How is the balance now on the map? Because right now, it doesn't look like either team still is in control.
Liquid have better 5-man, but I think Navi just have way better pick. They have the Beastmaster. He can go for BOTs or Blink. Not sure what he's going to go for. He has 2150. Batrider also could go for BOTs, and then they have superior fight around the map. However, if they commit to that sort of build, then Liquid might just 5-man with the next Aegis if they get their hands on it.
So how do you then approach this Liquid? If you want to 5-man the entire time, do you want to go up? Do you want to try and do what you did before and try and assault the base of Navi?
They do have good picks with the Dragon Knight with the Shadow Blade, and that would have worked out if it weren't right under the T3. So they can still look for picks. I don't think they're that desperate at the moment. It was just one fight.
Well, their Obs is able to see Seneko next to that tier 2 tower on bot lane. And Navi hovering around Roshan. It's another maybe 10-15 seconds until he has the potential spawn time. This will be in the back of the minds of the teams. Not to mention Liquid are pinging out the top lane. The fact that no one is defending that tier 3 tower on top makes them just wonder where the hell Navi is. Artstyle will now show himself underneath that Obs as well on bottom.
But they have a gem now on Dendi, so that will make Dragon Knight's Shadow Blade not as useful as before. Still can turn that into, let's say, Silver Edge. Pretty good versus Enchantress, both at killing her and limiting her impetus damage.
Dendi actually walked straight past the Observer Ward with the gem, but he had no vision on the hillside. So the gem gets to remain alive for a while.
Yeah, they need the Hawk to follow the gem carrier. This is generally why the Beastmaster carries the gem rather than the Batrider, although Batrider is pretty darn good. Yeah, so looks like Roshan's going to be very quick respawn, 1 minute and 10-ish.
Well, Liquid are going to smoke up. Okay, that's not even okay. We've got like 20-25 seconds until Roshan's on the field. So if Liquid actually lose this fight, then Navi potentially can grab Roshan after. But if Liquid also win this fight, they're looking at a Raxing.
So scan peeked out exactly where the boar was, and it did catch Kuro with that.
Where do you want to go? Okay, Liquid can't find the heroes. They go for the tier 2 tower on bottom.
And let's see if that Hawk catches the tail end of the Roshan respawn. If Navi know that it's up, and Liquid might.
It will.
If they know that it's up, they have to go around that pit. They can't just fall back after the T2.
There it is. They see it.
Yeah, so now I think they might be forced to fight outside of base. If it weren't up, they could just sit up to T3, but Liquid very likely to check Roche after that pit, and they have superior vision with those 2 Observer Wards that have not yet been taken down.
They still haven't looked yet. Liquid are focused pretty heavily on just the lane. It would take like a wave of terror from Kuro to have a peek.
Or the bear, or
bear, yep.
Anything.
And there it is, wave of terror. They know Roshan's up. At the same time, the Hawk also gets scattered out, moving over towards the pit.
Yeah, and Liquid now, they can't leave the pit. Matama Man TP to the left side, but if they want to contest Roche, he needs to be there for this fight. And yeah, they scouted him out with the Observer Ward. They know he's not there.
Navi actually have an opening now, because Liquid have left. So if they can actually get rid of the Observer Ward, is Beastmaster carrying around the gem? No, he's not, but he triggers the Necrobooks, and with the axes he gets a vision on the ward. So he'll get rid of it that way. And there's still the committal of Necrobooks to get rid of that ward. But it might be worth it. Liquid are coming back over.
And there's also a gem on the Phoenix. Let's see if they get The dire
The bear
observer
makes
ward.
the run. NaVi, they're looping around. They want Liquid to try and find them. That's why Denny, BKB Lasso, catching out Kuro, taking that Vengeful Spirit out of the play already. And Matumban caught down the river, roared up. The spin's going to happen. The Nova's also down. Fighter is dropping low. Enchantress pumping out the damage with a crush from Mind Control, stopping the inflicting of it. And Fighter, there's a Sunray. He actually just heals up so quickly, combining up with the Armlet. NaVi are bailing out this one. They lost two. The Savage Roar a little bit too late there. But that's two heroes down from NaVi, and now Liquid will be taking Roshan.
And they did get Kuro with the lasso, but then their other damage dealers are just wailing onto Dityara. Dityara, he spun, even with his Vanguard, he died during his spin, was not able to get his Omni Slash off, and that will be a free roast for
Dendy.
Liquid.
Oh, he attempts the steal. The Roshan is still killed by the Radiant, and the Lone Druid has the Aegis, the Immortal. Dendy does not have buyback available. A 50-second window has just been opened up. But the upside for NaVi is all the creep waves are already pushed out. So by the time Liquid arrive, Dendy will be back.
And at least he had the presence of mind and dropped his gem before he went into the pit, or else just would have been suicidal.
He needed the slot to get the Aegis anyway. Trying to make the next fight a little bit easier for them.
And now with Aegis in tow and a lot of auras on the Spirit Bear, he was what, maybe like 3,000 ahead of the Enchantress. Now he's 7,000 ahead.
No, and increasing.
So who do they need to kill in fights? Dendy needs to lasso Kuro so he doesn't get a swap off, but then Phoenix gets like a full Sunray off on these huge strength cores or tanky core like Lone Druid.
It also seems like Slaughter is causing the most amount of problems. Like Mind Control crushes are always catching 2 or 3 heroes of NaVi, stopping them from like art style. He almost had that kill over on Fighter until the crush came from Mind Control.
And they have no armor on NaVi, so you have the amp damage and the minus armor from the Assault Cuirass, and everyone's just getting ripped to shreds.
NaVi are coming out. Matumban, he's the closest one, and well, this should be a guaranteed kill. With the lasso back, they try and take their distance here, and Matumban, well, impetus damage, R-Style, you need to actually throw that into Matumban, but he doesn't do it. In fact, even one of those impetus went over towards the bear. So Matumban will survive for now, and you're seeing the Mind Control trying to punish NaVi as they come out.
And now it's clear that damage output is severely lacking. Need at least one more item with Juggernaut before they can take a straight 5-on-5. I don't think Liquid's going to give them that much time to farm, though. NaVi drawing arrows towards the bottom lane, knowing that they need to get all the lanes pushed out so Liquid can't approach their T3.
Oh, Dityara's going to find Mind Control. It's a little too close to the Ancients for him just to commit a complete solo Omni Slash.
And DK's being pretty smart and not showing on the map. He's farming the newts, he's relatively close to his team, but everyone's going to be scared to push out the lanes. Dityara has to back off the bottom lane because they don't know where Fada is.
Liquid. They were healing up Matumban with Sunray. And now they're just staring down the barrel of that mid lane, but NaVi, they were able to hold this once before. Underneath the tier 3 towers, Liquid will not make the same mistake again. And again, they're a lot stronger than they were back then. With BKBs over on Fada, you got actually 3.5k gold on Jirax. I'm assuming we're just going to go straight into Shiva's.
Shiva's pretty good. Ags is fairly reasonable, especially with the single target from the Batrider and the Beastmaster.
Haven't seen an Ags Phoenix in a while. Wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, looks like just Shiva's will be his build. I still think NaVi are not doing a very good job of pushing the lanes out at all. No BOTs up, and they're falling way behind in terms of farm right now. It was pretty close until 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, and then everything just started going horribly wrong after the fight, and then Roshan. Team Liquid, they are grouped up. Funnily enough, NaVi still have 3 players down on the southern part of the map. They'll have to come back to base now. And Liquid, they're also smoked, looking for an opening. Kuro, he's kind of like the primary guy for that one. A level 2 swap, some really good range. But they don't have vision inside the base either, and now the Glimpse actually dragging Fada back, but no committal. Potentially looking to maybe force out a BKB charge for him, but Fada doesn't care. He goes Dragon Form, and they're coming up high ground. You are still not having Juggernaut here. He's too far away. The stun comes in over on R-Style. Remember, he's a big source of damage. He'll turn it around, now trying to hit into Fada. who seems to be okay with this when G-Rex is there holding his hand with Sunray, a full medic frontliner. Did he run? Mind control. Okay, he came up. Yeah, I don't know if he was looking for a real stun, but Fada's able to get one. The nice storm over on Kuro. He's actually dropping really, really low. Fada walks back into it under the cover of his BKB, but the Raw will also control him. Arstal just pumping out the cannon damage from the rear end. Fada, he's going to go down. They've lost two. The stun comes out from the bear. Arstal so low. The flame ray trapped by space. Arstal with the stun ray from G-Rex. He'll kill him at the end. And Dendy as well. He's burning in the pit. The 4-staff will allow him to retreat. The bear may go down, but a fresh one gets summoned up here by Matumbaman. Now the Crush General still on the front lines. He's going to get entangled as well. General! RNG is against him this time around. Matumban keeps going onto the racks. The bear is just so damn strong. Arstal wants something with the help of Denny. Maybe he can claim Matumban's down low, but mind control initiates in. Arstal locked in by the bear, and with the Sunray, the heal starts coming in, and Denny has to force-staff himself away to save him. There's just no place to be safe. The Liquid are all over this Na'Vi base. They take the top racks out. And now with a glimpse, maybe they can catch out mind control. In fact, they will be able to with a spin out from Didier Ra. But the damage is done. Team Liquid have taken the top racks.
And another fight where he had the Aegis, it ticked down, and then he got hit by a Firefly, so he couldn't heal it from the Aegis, and then he just died like a second after. That's a sad life for mind control, or from a double man rather.
You're still happy if you're Liquid. You still hold a huge advantage. You're about 10k net worth in front now. You got a top racks going your way with such a great push lineup with Lone Druid as well as DK. Just that enough would make you very happy.
The Phoenix is just left unchecked in all these fights, just channeling Sunray and healing all the damage that Iraq could do.
Well, how are you meant to check him? Like, he's always so far back, you can't stop it.
They committed 2 ultimates to Kuro. They had the, I think, BKB, Blink, Lasso, and then they dropped the Static Storm on top of them. That's just way too much for her. I think the Disruptor can hopefully control the Phoenix if you're Na'Vi, and Bat Rider can deal with the Ventral Spirit, or maybe even just roar the Ventral Spirit and Lasso someone else. They cannot commit 2 ultimates like that though to the Ventral Spirit.
We'll see how Na'Vi approach it next time around. Because it won't be too long until that happens. We can check out Roshan's about a minute and a half away from potential spawn time.
I think that Irod really needs Manta. I think that's the second time he's just died very early on into the fight. Howl of Terror on top of the other minus armor. He needs to be able to dispel those to live. It's much better than just building 1 armor item.
Well, he's not too far away from getting it. And in fact, when I say not too far, he's got it. 36 minutes in, didn't realize the recipe was over on the courier. But this is a buyout for this. As far as buybacks go, like obviously he doesn't want to save any of his money. You had to buy back on both the Juggernaut as well as the Enchantress for Na'Vi to attempt to hold that top lane before. So right now it's only Dendy as well as General who have the buybacks.
Enchantress can still dish out the damage in team fights once she completes her Moon Shard. I just don't know if she's going to be that safe. You saw how deeply they committed into the Fountain to make sure that she was dead and at least had to commit their buyback to that fight.
Yeah.
So I think Liquid realized that she's a very high priority, wondering how these heavy armor, like a few thousand HP heroes are just melting. And it's all because of Enchantress. Even Matuma Man near the end, he realized that he just needs to run towards her. If they can get in her face and force her to either run away or hit them while they're in melee range, then she's not a problem.
It's amazing how well this is working for Na'Vi on bot lane. General pushes the lane almost to the tier 3 tower. Team Liquid for the last 30 seconds have been all holding hands as a 5-man group.
I feel like he should have been doing this most of the game though. I think he should be much more farmed than he is. He's number 5 on net worth, but he's very, very scared. Sometimes you just have to take the risk. Yeah, there could be a DK there, Shadow Bladed, but if there's just one hero, you can just roar them and kill them. At this point, his Necro 3 is not that strong. I think he had Necro 3 sub 20 minutes and hasn't been able to get a solo pick with it.
It's also the safety of having Didier Ra. Like the fact he has that mana style, he was using it to scout out and see what was going on. Maybe he could find Team Liquid. Right now, if they're going to find Liquid, they have to go to Roshan. But Roshan currently has negative 18 armor and he drops so quickly. If Na'Vi has any intention of trying to compete up against that, like they had to be there before it started. Which they were not.
And Cheese will go to Slardar.
Yeah. With the immortality into the hands again of the Lone Druid.
So for Na'Vi this fight, they have to get like a multiple engagements at once. One hero roared, one hero lassoed, or one hero lassoed and another hero static storm. It's going to be insanely difficult versus the BKB though. No scepter up on the disruptor. They cannot prevent those from being popped.
I love this last little item from Fada. Enjoy Heaven's Halbert, man. Invasion and everything else, so NaVi. Do you want to try and come out and fight and catch Liquid off guard?
I don't think so. It's too risky. They don't know where they have vision. Denny hasn't been able to sweep the area free with his gem.
But still, with a pickup lineup, you need to get something. I suppose Liquid aren't really giving you any openings either.
They have to force Liquid to split apart. They're not split pushing out the lanes, so Liquid are just okay with going mid. They have the low druid bear too, and he hasn't even been forced to put the bear into other lanes, just because the lanes aren't pushed out. Still no BOTs out from NaVi.
It's no easy way just to split push it. Diarra is actually walking up on this top lane. He's going to pick up a TP scroll. If he sells his Ring of Aquila, he'll be able to grab it now, which he will do. Liquid stared down the barrel of the mid lane. Diarra will reveal himself on top lane in just a bit. So it relieves pressure, but it won't be enough for Team Liquid to come back.
Not at all.
Man, Arstar's like a cannon with that Moon Shard. But the Lone Druid Bear loses half of its life in a very, very short span of time.
And Liquid have to feel very comfortable. 3 minutes until the Aegis respawn, so no Aegis death shenanigans.
Fada, there's your jump in Mind Control! Right on top of General, he's going to go down low, but he actually gets his roar off in time. That Phoenix Egg is in the perfect spot! NaVi had nowhere to go apart from down. Diarra will be lost as well. A trip buyback right now from NaVi to defend their mid lane, but they don't have their sources of damage. They don't have Ench, they do not have the Juggernaut, and they don't have this game. GG! NaVi will lose game 1 to Team Liquid, as Liquid just really solid. Maybe a bit of a hiccup with that mid lane push, but apart from that, they were in control.
Yeah, I think their only hiccups were with the Aegis, maybe a little bit from the early game, but that's to be expected with Art Styles Enchantress. Overall, I think they went in with a game plan. NaVi just lacked damage output on a lot of fronts, did not control the Phoenix, even though Phoenix has a really low win rate. In the hands of Jerix, it looks very powerful and worthy of first pick.
And NaVi, I know there's a lot of fans here in the crowd who are cheering them on, trying to see like a quality game from them, but they've had some really hard matchups. Like you get OG as your first one, and then you get Liquid as your second one. Come on, it's a hard life if you're a NaVi fan right now.
I also think it was really smart for Liquid to kind of draft like against the crowd. Like if they have a push strat, they're not really smoking that much, and like the smokes aren't really that big of a deal. I think that might have been affecting their draft a little bit.
Oh, so you're hoping for the non-Mineski effect, like the non-hey,
well, you don't,
the crowd is
like
your
if
second
you were
opps.
playing NaVi's lineup as Liquid,
yeah,
every time there's a Bat Rider coming around.
Very true. Very true. Well, that's